Motorcycle frame sliders are one of those accessories that often spark debate among riders. Some swear by them, others dismiss them as unnecessary, and some just install them because everyone else does. But when it comes to real-world crashes, those unexpected heart-racing, metal-scraping moments, do frame sliders actually make a difference? Today we're diving deep into the truth behind motorcycle frame sliders. We'll explore what they are, how they work, their benefits and limitations, and most importantly, whether they truly protect your bike in a real crash. What are motorcycle frame sliders? Let's start with the basics. Motorcycle frame sliders, also called crash bobbins or frame protectors, are devices designed to reduce damage to your bike's frame and engine during a fall or slide. They are usually made of tough plastic, nylon, or a combination of durable materials and are mounted directly to the motorcycle's frame. They come in different styles: puck-style sliders, bar-style sliders, and even axle or swing-arm sliders for added protection. Some are bolt-on, while others require fairing modification or bracket kits. The main purpose? To keep the vital, expensive parts of your bike from making direct contact with the road if you crash or drop the bike. How do frame sliders work? Imagine you're riding through a twisty road. You misjudge a corner or hit a patch of oil, and down goes the bike. As it slides across the pavement, whatever sticks out the most will take the hit first. That's usually your fairings, engine case, handlebars, and levers. A properly positioned frame slider acts like a sacrificial component. It hits the ground first and takes the brunt of the impact, helping the bike to slide rather than flip, tumble, or dig into the asphalt. That sliding motion, although still damaging, is generally more controlled and causes less catastrophic destruction to key components. Common misconceptions about frame sliders. There are a few common myths that need addressing. First, many riders believe frame sliders make a bike crash-proof. That's not true. Frame sliders reduce damage, they don't eliminate it. If your bike goes cartwheeling down a hillside or smashes into a guardrail, no slider will save it. Second, people often assume that longer sliders offer better protection. While longer sliders can provide more distance between the frame and the ground, they also increase leverage and can bend or break the mounting point under hard impacts. Finally, some riders think frame sliders are only useful for racing or track days. In reality, they can be incredibly helpful during low-speed urban spills, driveway drops, or even parking lot tip-overs. Real crash scenarios, when sliders help and when they don't. Let's get to the heart of the matter. Real crashes. Scenario 1. Low-speed slide. You're riding at 30 miles per hour and take a turn too fast. The bike slips and slides along the road. In this situation, frame sliders work very well. They absorb the initial impact and allow the bike to glide across the asphalt. Fairings, foot pegs, and engine cases are often spared major damage. After picking the bike up, you may find cosmetic damage, scratched sliders, and maybe a broken lever. But your frame and engine? Intact. Scenario 2. High side crash. This is the worst kind of crash. A high side launches the rider off the bike violently, and the motorcycle can flip and land in unpredictable ways. Frame sliders may reduce some impact when the bike hits the ground, but if the bike tumbles, there's a chance the sliders won't help much. Worse, they could even dig into the ground and cause more flipping, especially on rough surfaces or grass. Scenario 3. Stationary tip-over. This is every rider's embarrassment. You stop at a gas station, forget the kickstand, and boom, the bike tips over. In this case, frame sliders are your best friend. Instead of cracking expensive fairings or denting your tank, the slider catches the fall. You might end up with a scratched bar end and bruised ego, but your bike is safe. Scenario 4. Collision with an object. If your bike crashes into a curb, pole, or car, sliders may help if the impact is glancing or results in a slide. But if it's a direct impact, the usefulness of frame sliders is limited. Structural damage can occur, and sliders won't absorb enough force to prevent that. Advantages of using frames. Let's list the clear benefits. Cost-effective protection. Replacing a frame slider costs a fraction of what it takes to fix fairings, an engine case, or a cracked frame. Reduced cosmetic damage. Sliders can protect painted parts, reduce scratches, and keep your bike looking clean even after a small mishap. Quick installation. Most sliders are easy to install and don't require major modifications. For the protection they offer, it's a solid investment. Increased bike longevity. Fewer crashes that result in critical damage means your motorcycle lasts longer and retains its value better. Peace of mind. Whether you're a new rider or a seasoned motorcyclist, knowing you have some protection in place helps you ride more confidently. Downsides and limitations. Now, it's only fair to discuss the downsides. No guarantee in every crash. Frame sliders aren't miracle workers. The nature of the crash, angle, speed, terrain, determines their effectiveness. Risk of frame damage. In rare cases, a hard enough impact can bend or break the slider's mounting point on the frame, causing even worse damage. Can interfere with other parts. On some motorcycles, sliders may block access to components like oil filters or fairing bolts, making maintenance trickier. May affect aerodynamics or aesthetics. Some riders don't like how sliders look or how they stick out, especially on sport bikes where sleekness matters. Do all bikes need frame sliders? It depends on the rider, the bike, and the type of riding. Commuter and beginner riders, absolutely. These riders are more prone to drops at parking lots or in traffic, where sliders prevent costly repairs. Sport bike riders and track day enthusiasts, definitely. Frame sliders are essential for protecting expensive fairings and engine components when pushing limits on the track. Adventure and dirt riders, not always. These bikes often have crash bars and other protection, and frame sliders may not be as useful in off-road terrain. Cruisers and tourers. These bikes are heavier and lower to the ground. Engine guards and highway bars often provide better protection than frame sliders. Frame sliders versus other crash protection. You might be wondering, what about engine case covers, fork sliders, axle sliders, and crash bars? Each serves a different purpose. Engine case. Covers protect your engine in case the bike slides on its side. Fork and axle sliders protect front and rear wheel components during slides. Crash bars are bulkier and offer more protection, but add weight and bulk, popular on ADV and touring bikes. Think of frame sliders as part of a crash protection package. No single device is enough, but together, they greatly improve your chances of walking away with a repairable bike. Testimonials from real riders. Many riders share stories where frame sliders saved them from expensive repairs. One rider described dropping his Yamaha R6 while parking. The frame slider took all the impact, zero damage to the fairing. He simply replaced the scuff slider for $40 and was back on the road. Another rider slid off on a rainy day at about 40 miles per hour. Thanks to frame and fork sliders, the bike suffered only cosmetic scrapes. No structural damage, no broken engine casing. He rode it home. But there are also cases where sliders didn't help or made things worse. A Ducati rider reported that the long slider on his Panigale caught a curb and twisted the frame upon impact. The result, a total loss. These mixed experiences show that while frame sliders offer real benefits, they are not foolproof. Conclusion: are frame sliders worth it? So, what's the final verdict? Yes, in most practical, real-world situations, motorcycle frame sliders are absolutely worth it. They offer a great balance of protection, cost-effectiveness, and ease of installation. While they won't save your bike in every crash scenario, they significantly reduce damage in the most common types of accidents: low-speed slides, tip-overs, and urban spills. That said, choosing the right type of slider for your motorcycle and understanding their limitations is crucial. Pair them with other protective gear like case covers and axle sliders, and you'll have a more complete defense system for your ride. If you care about your bike, and let's be honest, if you're watching this you probably do, then investing in frame sliders is a smart move. They're not just about saving money, they're about peace of mind. Stay safe out there, ride smart, and remember, gear and protection don't just save your bike, they might just save your life too. Thanks for watching.